The sun had just started to rise, and the city streets were already beginning to buzz with people heading to work, school, or running errands. Among them was a young girl, walking hand in hand with her mother. She was quiet, a little reserved, and her eyes were wide with curiosity as she looked at the busy streets and the people around her. It was not often that they ventured into this part of town, but today was special. Her mother had promised her a visit to a jewelry store she had never been to before. She didn't know it, but this would be a day she would never forget. The girl loved anything that sparkled. She had a small collection of costume jewelry at home, pieces she had saved up to buy with her allowance. But this store was different. As they approached, she could see the glass windows glistening in the morning sun, displaying rows of necklaces, rings, and bracelets. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The store looked so fancy, almost like something out of a magazine. Her mother squeezed her hand gently, sensing her daughter's nervous energy, and smiled reassuringly. When they entered the store, the girl's eyes immediately went to the sparkling displays. Everything seemed so perfect and delicate. She tried to move quietly, careful not to touch anything she wasn't supposed to, and followed her mother as they walked deeper into the shop. The air smelled faintly of polish and clean glass. She felt like she had stepped into another world, one full of glittering treasures that she had only dreamed about. Her mother was speaking with a salesperson, a woman who seemed to be in charge. She was polite at first, explaining that they were just looking and had no intention to buy anything expensive that day. The girl, meanwhile, wandered a little to the side, mesmerized by a small display of rings set with colorful stones. She reached out slightly, just enough to point at one of the rings, not to take it, when suddenly she felt a firm grip on her arm. She stumbled slightly, startled, and looked up. The salesperson's face was stern. There was no warmth in her eyes, only suspicion and impatience. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped, her voice sharp. The girl shook her head, trying to explain, but the words wouldn't come out. She felt her cheeks burn and a lump formed in her throat. The salesperson gave a harsh push, just enough to make her step back. The girl's small frame wobbled for a moment before she regained her balance. She looked at her mother, who was frozen with shock, unsure of how to respond. The girl's heart pounded. She had never been treated like that before, especially not in a place she thought was meant to be safe. The glittering jewelry that had captivated her just moments ago now seemed distant and unimportant. She felt embarrassed, humiliated, and confused all at once. How could someone think she was there to steal? She had done nothing wrong. She tried to hold back her tears, but a few slipped down her cheeks anyway. Her mother quickly stepped forward, her own voice calm but firm, trying to diffuse the situation without making it worse. "I'm very sorry, but my daughter didn't do anything," her mother said, her eyes locked on the salesperson. The salesperson didn't seem to hear her, her attention fully on the girl. She muttered something under her breath, a mixture of frustration and authority, before stepping back, clearly annoyed at having to deal with what she considered a nuisance. The girl wanted to run away, to escape the embarrassment and the sharp words that still echoed in her ears. She clutched her mother's hand tightly, grateful for the comfort but still shaken. Her mother suggested they leave the store for the moment, wanting to calm her daughter down and get out of the tense situation before it escalated further. The girl nodded silently, not trusting her voice. As they walked toward the exit, she couldn't help but glance back at the displays, the rings and necklaces that had seemed so enchanting just minutes ago. Now they felt cold and unwelcoming. Outside, the morning air felt fresher, and the girl took a few deep breaths, trying to steady herself. Her mother held her close, rubbing her back gently. "It's not your fault," she whispered. "Some people don't understand how to treat others. You did nothing wrong." The girl nodded, but the sting of humiliation lingered. She wanted to understand why someone could be so cruel for no reason at all. She wanted to know why a place that should have felt magical had suddenly turned so harsh and unkind. They walked in silence for a few minutes, the sounds of the city filling the gaps in their conversation. The girl's mind replayed the incident over and over, trying to make sense of it. She thought about the sparkle of the rings, the careful way she had moved, and how quickly it all had turned into fear and embarrassment. Her chest felt heavy with confusion and frustration. She didn't want to feel this way, but she couldn't shake the memory of the push, the sharp voice, and the cold look in the salesperson's eyes. As they reached a small park nearby, her mother suggested they sit on a bench for a moment. The girl hesitated but then agreed, still holding her mother's hand. She looked around at the children playing and the people walking by, feeling the contrast between the carefree world outside and the tension she had just experienced. Her mother kept a watchful eye on her, offering quiet reassurance without pressing for more words than the girl was ready to give. After a few moments, the girl finally spoke, her voice small and hesitant. "Why would she do that?" "I didn't take anything. I wasn't even touching the rings." Her mother shook her head, her own heart aching at her daughter's distress. "Some people are impatient or quick to judge," she said softly. "Sometimes they act without thinking. That doesn't make it right, but it also doesn't mean you did anything wrong. You have to remember that." The girl listened, trying to absorb the words. They made sense, but they didn't make her feel any less embarrassed. She had wanted to feel excited about the rings, to enjoy the beauty and the shine, but now all she felt was a lingering worry that she had done something to deserve the harsh treatment. Her mother squeezed her hand, giving her a small smile. "We'll figure this out together," she said. "I promise you it will be okay." The girl nodded, feeling a little comforted by her mother's words. She took a few more deep breaths, letting the fresh air wash away some of the sting of humiliation. She looked up at her mother and offered a small smile, the first in what felt like hours. Her mother smiled back, proud of her daughter's strength, even in such a confusing and upsetting situation. As they continued their walk, the girl tried to put the incident behind her, though she knew it would linger in her memory. She focused instead on the warmth of the sun, the sounds of birds chirping, and the gentle sway of the trees in the park. She felt the tension in her body slowly ease, replaced by a cautious sense of relief. She was safe with her mother, and that comfort was enough for now. Little did she know the story of the jewelry store was far from over. The person who had pushed her, the cold and impatient salesperson, had no idea of the connection that was about to be revealed. The girl, unaware of the truth, would soon discover that the store held a secret, one that would completely change her understanding of the morning's events and leave her both shocked and amazed. But for now, she walked beside her mother, trying to put one foot in front of the other, learning the first lessons about patience, resilience, and the unexpected turns that life sometimes takes. That evening, the girl could not stop thinking about the incident in the jewelry store. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the sharp look in the salesperson's eyes and felt the push on her arm. The embarrassment still burned, but she tried to hide it as she ate dinner with her family. Her mother kept a gentle, watchful eye on her, noticing how quiet she had become. After dinner, when the house was calm and quiet, the girl finally spoke. She told her father every detail of what had happened, from the sparkling rings that had drawn her in to the sudden push that had left her stunned. She spoke softly, almost as if afraid that saying it out loud would make it real. Her father listened quietly, his expression calm but serious. He didn't interrupt her, letting her get everything off her chest. He watched her closely, noticing the small tremor in her hands and the way her eyes seemed to glisten with unshed tears. When she finished, he took a moment before speaking, carefully choosing his words. "I understand," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "It's not right what happened to you. No one should be treated that way." The girl nodded, grateful for his understanding, but she was still uneasy. Something in his tone seemed different from usual. He seemed quieter, almost thoughtful, as if he were processing something beyond just the story. She tilted her head, curiosity nudging aside her embarrassment. "Daddy, why are you so quiet?" she asked. Her father took a deep breath and looked at her with a steady gaze. Slowly, he began to reveal a secret she had never known. He explained that he owned the jewelry store they had visited that morning. The words hit her like a sudden jolt. She stared at him, eyes wide, unable to speak for a moment. The store, the one where she had been humiliated, was owned by her father. She had walked through those doors without knowing, and now she realized that everything she thought she understood about that place had been turned upside down. She tried to process the information. Her mind raced with questions. How could she not know? How could the store where she had been treated so badly belong to her own father? Her feelings were a mix of shock, confusion, and disbelief. The more she thought about it, the more she felt a strange combination of relief and anger. Relief, because now she knew her father had the power to make things right. Anger, because she had been treated so unfairly without anyone realizing who she was. Her father noticed her struggle and reached out, gently holding her hand. "I didn't tell you before because I wanted you to have your own experience," he explained. But now you know and we can fix this together. You didn't deserve what happened today. The girl felt a small spark of hope ignite within her. She had always admired her father for his calmness and wisdom, but seeing him handle the situation with such composure made her feel safe. She realized that no matter how unfair the world could be, she had someone on her side who would stand up for her. It was a comforting thought, one that helped ease the lingering sting from earlier. Her father then began to outline what they would do next. He wanted her to understand that this was more than just an apology. It was about making sure that the store reflected the respect and care that every customer deserved. He explained that he would speak directly with the manager and the salesperson, ensuring they understood the seriousness of their mistake. He wanted the girl to see that standing up for oneself sometimes meant letting those in power act responsibly and wisely. The girl listened carefully, taking in every word. She felt a sense of pride swell inside her. Her father's approach was calm, fair, and strong. It wasn't about revenge or anger. It was about justice and making things right. She realized that this lesson was important for her own life as well. There would be times when people might treat her unfairly, but she didn't have to fight alone. There were ways to handle such situations with dignity and wisdom. Over the next few days, the girl's father made preparations to address the incident at the store. He wanted to make sure everything was handled appropriately and that the staff understood the values of respect and kindness that he held dear. The girl watched from a distance as he made phone calls, sent emails, and spoke with the store manager. She could sense the determination in his voice, the unwavering focus on ensuring that no one else would have to experience the humiliation she had faced. Meanwhile, the girl reflected on her own feelings. She thought about the fear and embarrassment she had felt, and how quickly it had faded when she learned the truth about her father. She realized that her initial shame was not a reflection of her worth, but of someone else's ignorance. This understanding gave her a new sense of confidence, and she began to think about how she could approach future situations with more courage and self-assurance. One evening, her father invited her to sit with him as he reviewed the store's policies and training plans. He explained how important it was for every employee to treat customers with kindness and respect, and how even small actions, like a harsh word or a rough gesture, could deeply affect someone. The girl listened intently, feeling a growing sense of responsibility herself. She wanted to help make the store a place where everyone could feel welcome and safe. As they talked, her father shared stories from his own childhood, times when he had faced unfair treatment and how he had learned to handle it. The girl was fascinated, realizing that her father's wisdom came not just from being in charge but from understanding life's challenges firsthand. She felt a deep connection with him, appreciating not only his authority but also his empathy and compassion. The day finally came when her father decided to visit the store in person. He wanted to speak directly to the manager and the salesperson responsible for the incident. The girl felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. She knew that her father's presence would command respect, but she also wondered how the staff would react. Would they be embarrassed, guilty, or defensive? She didn't have to wait long to find out. At the store, her father walked calmly to the front desk, greeting the manager politely but firmly. The girl stayed close, observing every detail. The manager's face went pale as soon as he saw who was standing there. The salesperson, the one who had pushed her, froze, unable to meet her eyes. The girl felt a mix of emotions, curiosity, tension, and a quiet satisfaction that her father was taking control of the situation. Her father spoke clearly and calmly, explaining the incident and expressing disappointment in how it had been handled. He made it clear that the store had high standards for customer treatment and that such behavior was unacceptable. The manager apologized sincerely, acknowledging the mistake and assuring her father that corrective measures would be taken. The salesperson, still embarrassed and guilt-ridden, also offered an apology, though it was awkward and hesitant. The girl watched all of this silently, her heart racing with a mixture of pride and relief. She felt empowered by her father's approach, realizing that fairness and justice could be achieved without anger or confrontation. She understood that sometimes the presence of someone with authority and wisdom could change the course of an unfair situation entirely. After the meeting, her father took her aside and spoke to her privately. He explained that while the staff had made a mistake, it was important to accept their apologies and recognize their willingness to learn and improve. The girl nodded, understanding the lesson. She felt a sense of closure, knowing that the incident had been addressed properly and that she had been treated with respect throughout the process. As they left the store, the girl felt a mix of emotions: relief, pride, and newfound confidence. She had learned valuable lessons about justice, empathy, and the importance of handling difficult situations with dignity. Her father's guidance had shown her that even when faced with unfair treatment, there were ways to navigate the world with strength and wisdom. That evening, as they walked home, the girl felt lighter than she had in days. She held her father's hand tightly, grateful for his support and understanding. She realized that the jewelry store, once a place of embarrassment and fear, had become a symbol of resilience and justice. She knew that she would carry the lessons from this experience with her for the rest of her life, understanding that respect, kindness, and fairness were values worth protecting and upholding. The next morning, the girl woke up feeling a strange mix of nervousness and curiosity. She remembered everything that had happened at the jewelry store and the evening conversation with her father. It felt strange to think that a place she had once seen as intimidating and cold was actually a part of her father's life. She had so many questions swirling in her mind. How had she never known?
What would happen now?
Could the store really feel safe for her again? Her father had promised that they would go back to the store that day. He wanted to show her that the place could be different, that respect and kindness could replace fear and humiliation. She ate breakfast slowly, thinking about what she would say if the salesperson approached her again. She worried that she might feel scared or embarrassed all over again, but she also felt a small flicker of confidence because she knew her father would be there to guide her. When they arrived, the girl noticed that the atmosphere was already different. The store felt brighter and warmer, even though the displays and the glass cases looked the same as before. The staff greeted them politely, with smiles and a noticeable change in attitude. The girl felt a sense of relief, as though a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She still held her father's hand tightly, but she could feel herself standing a little taller, ready to face what had happened before. The father spoke to the manager first, quietly but firmly, making sure that everyone understood the expectations moving forward. He reminded them that every customer, no matter their age, race, or background, deserved to be treated with respect. The manager nodded, clearly taking his words seriously. The salesperson who had pushed the girl the day before was also present. She looked nervous and ashamed. The girl could see the remorse in her eyes. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she could sense that the person was genuinely sorry. Her father then turned to her and said softly, "You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but it's your choice to speak to her if you want." The girl felt her stomach tighten. She took a deep breath and stepped forward slowly. The salesperson lowered her eyes, waiting for the girl's words. The girl looked up at her, her voice steady but calm. "I didn't like what you did," she said. "It hurt me, but I see that you are sorry now. I hope you understand that everyone deserves to be treated kindly." The salesperson nodded, her eyes glistening. "I am very sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. The girl felt a sense of satisfaction, not from vengeance or anger, but from the simple act of being heard and acknowledged. It was empowering to know that she could express herself and that her feelings mattered. Her father placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "See, you handled that very well," he said. The girl smiled faintly, feeling a sense of pride. She realized that speaking up didn't have to be scary, and that fairness could be restored without shouting or fighting. The store now felt like a place where she could walk freely and feel safe, something she hadn't felt the day before. As they moved through the store, her father encouraged her to explore the displays again. The girl tentatively approached a case of rings, remembering the one that had caught her attention the previous day. This time she could touch the glass freely without fear. She felt the sparkle of the stones and the shine of the metals, and the beauty of the jewelry seemed to return to her eyes. Her fascination with the pieces was rekindled, but now it was accompanied by a sense of control and confidence. Her father guided her through the store, explaining how each section worked and what the staff did behind the scenes. She was amazed at how much effort went into maintaining the store, from the careful polishing of the jewelry to the attention to detail in the displays. She realized that the store wasn't just about selling jewelry. It was about creating an experience for people, a place where they could feel special and valued. The lesson was clear. Respect and care mattered just as much as the products themselves. The girl's mother watched quietly, proud of her daughter's growth. She had seen her child transform from a timid, hurt girl into someone who was beginning to understand her own strength. The girl's father occasionally paused to speak privately with the staff, ensuring that they understood the importance of their behavior and that no one would ever feel humiliated or unsafe in the store again. The girl observed these conversations and learned a lot about leadership, empathy, and responsibility. As the day went on, the girl began to relax completely. She laughed softly when she saw a particularly colorful necklace and even asked her father to let her try on a simple ring. The staff assisted her politely, and she felt a sense of normalcy returning. She realized that the fear she had felt yesterday had been replaced with understanding and trust. The store, once a source of embarrassment, had become a place of learning and growth. Her father also shared some of his experiences with her about running the store and dealing with difficult situations. He told her that mistakes happen, but what mattered most was how people responded to them. He emphasized the importance of patience, forgiveness, and standing up for oneself in a calm and respectful way. The girl listened intently, absorbing every word, realizing that these lessons applied not only to the store but to life in general. At one point, the salesperson approached the girl again, hesitating slightly. She knelt down to be at eye level and spoke sincerely. "I promise to be more careful and kind from now on. I understand how my actions hurt you, and I will make sure it doesn't happen again." The girl looked at her and nodded, feeling that the apology was genuine. She knew that people could change if they truly wanted to. The encounter left her feeling mature and strong, as though she had taken part in a small but meaningful act of justice. The rest of the visit was calm and enjoyable. The girl walked through the store, examining the jewelry with fascination, occasionally asking questions about the designs and stones. Her father explained patiently, making her feel included and respected. She felt proud to be his daughter and to understand a part of his life that had always been hidden from her. It was a day of healing, learning, and empowerment. Before leaving, her father gathered the staff together to remind them once more of the values they were expected to uphold. He emphasized that the store was not just a business, but a place where people's feelings and dignity mattered. The girl watched with admiration as her father spoke, feeling the strength and wisdom in his words. She realized that leadership wasn't about being strict or harsh. It was about guiding people to do the right thing. On the way home, the girl felt a deep sense of satisfaction and confidence. She held her father's hand and smiled, knowing that the store was now a safe place for her and for others. She had learned about courage, fairness, and the importance of expressing oneself. The experience had transformed from one of humiliation to one of growth and empowerment. That night, as she reflected on the day, she realized that life sometimes presented unexpected challenges. But with understanding, patience, and support from those who cared for her, she could navigate even the most difficult situations. The jewelry store incident had become more than just a story of embarrassment. It was now a story of resilience, learning, and the power of doing what was right. She went to bed feeling stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever came next with confidence and grace. A few days after the girls returned to the store, her father invited her and her mother back again. This time there was a sense of calm and normalcy that hadn't been there on their first visit. The girl walked through the glass doors feeling a strange mix of excitement and comfort. She had seen the store before as a place of fear, then as a place of justice, and now she was ready to experience it as a place of learning and understanding. The staff greeted them warmly, and the girl noticed how different the atmosphere felt. There was a genuine friendliness in the air that had been missing before. The salesperson who had pushed her previously smiled softly as they approached, clearly making an effort to show kindness. The girl felt a wave of relief and courage wash over her. She realized that people could change when they understood the impact of their actions. Her father guided them through the store, showing her new displays and pointing out the craftsmanship in the jewelry. She was fascinated, asking questions about the stones, the designs, and how the pieces were made. He explained patiently, making her feel included and respected. Each moment made her feel more confident and more connected to the store that was now a part of her life, in a way she had never expected. While they walked, her father spoke to her quietly. "Remember, it's not just about the jewelry," he said. "It's about how we treat people, how we make them feel. That is more important than anything else here." The girl nodded, understanding the lesson. She thought about her own feelings from the first visit, How small and powerless she had felt and how strong and respected she felt now. The contrast was clear, and she was grateful for it. They stopped by a display of rings, the same one that had drawn her attention on her first visit. This time she reached out with confidence, pointing at a ring and asking her father about the stone. The salesperson knelt beside her, explaining gently, answering her questions with patience and kindness. The girl felt a sense of satisfaction and pride. She realized that her voice mattered and that she could be treated with respect when people truly listened. Her father spoke to the staff again, quietly but firmly, reminding them of the values of respect, kindness, and patience. He emphasized that every customer, especially children, deserved to feel safe and welcomed. The girl watched, understanding how leadership worked. It wasn't about being harsh or intimidating. It was about guiding others with wisdom and setting the right example. During the visit, the girl noticed other customers being helped with care and attention. She saw how the staff treated everyone, not just her, with the same respect and kindness. She realized that the lessons she had learned were being put into practice and that the store was changing in a positive way. This gave her a sense of hope and confidence, knowing that one person's actions could influence others for the better. Her mother watched silently, proud of her daughter's growth. She saw how the girl had transformed from someone timid and hurt into someone who could navigate the situation with understanding and courage. The girl asked more questions, explored more displays, and even tried on a simple bracelet with her father's help. The experience was no longer intimidating. It was empowering. Her father shared stories of his early days running the store, times when he had faced challenges and unfair situations. He explained how he learned to deal with mistakes calmly and wisely, and how he believed in giving people a chance to correct their actions. The girl listened intently, realizing that these lessons applied to life outside the store as well. She understood that fairness, patience, and empathy were values she could carry with her in every part of her life. At one point, the salesperson who had pushed her approached again. She knelt down to be at eye level and spoke sincerely. "I want to make sure you feel safe and respected here. I promise to be more careful and kind from now on." The girl looked at her, and for the first time she felt no fear or hesitation. She nodded, feeling a sense of empowerment and satisfaction. The apology was genuine, and the encounter left her feeling strong and confident. The rest of the visit passed smoothly. The girl explored the store, asked questions, and learned about the different types of jewelry. She laughed softly when she saw a particularly colorful necklace and even asked her father to let her try on a simple ring. Each moment reinforced the lessons she had learned about courage, fairness, and understanding. The store, once a place of fear, had become a place of empowerment and learning. Before leaving, her father gathered the staff together one more time. He reminded them of the importance of respect, kindness, and patience. He emphasized that the store was more than just a business. It was a place where people's dignity and feelings mattered. The girl watched with admiration, understanding the power of leadership and guidance. She realized that change was possible when people acted with integrity and care. On the way home, the girl felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She held her father's hand and smiled, knowing that the store was now a safe and welcoming place. She had learned valuable lessons about courage, fairness, and the importance of expressing herself. The experience had transformed from one of humiliation to one of growth and empowerment. That night, as she reflected on the visit, she understood that life sometimes presented unexpected challenges. She realized that with patience, understanding, and the support of those who cared for her, she could navigate even the most difficult situations. The jewelry store incident had become a story of resilience, learning, and the power of doing what was right. She went to bed feeling stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever came next with confidence and grace. A week had passed since the girl's second visit to the jewelry store, and the memory of the initial incident was no longer as sharp as it had been. Instead, her mind focused on the lessons she had learned and the confidence she had gained. She knew that she had grown stronger, not just because her father had intervened, but because she had witnessed change and experienced respect firsthand. The story of what had happened in the store had become a part of her, a reminder of resilience, understanding, and the importance of standing up for oneself in calm and thoughtful ways. That morning, her father suggested that they visit the store once more, not because anything had gone wrong, but to show her the continued improvements and to reinforce the values that had become so important. The girl felt a sense of anticipation, a mixture of excitement and curiosity. She wondered what she would notice this time. She had already seen how the staff had changed and how the atmosphere could be warm and welcoming, but she was ready to observe the store with a new perspective. When they arrived, the girl immediately noticed the energy of the store. The staff greeted them genuinely, with smiles and kindness that felt effortless. Customers were being assisted patiently, their questions answered thoroughly, and everyone seemed to move with a sense of purpose and care. The girl felt a sense of calm and comfort wash over her. She realized that the store had truly transformed, not just in appearance, but in the way people interacted with one another. Her father guided her through the displays, pointing out the details of the jewelry and sharing stories about how each piece was crafted. The girl listened intently, asking questions and examining the pieces closely. She had learned to appreciate not just the beauty of the jewelry, but the effort and care that went into creating it. She felt a deeper connection to the store, understanding that it was more than just a place to buy things. It was a place where people could feel valued and respected. As they walked, her father spoke to her quietly, reinforcing the lessons she had been learning. "Remember, the way we treat others is always more important than the things we own or the things we sell," he said. "Respect, kindness, and understanding are what truly matter." The girl nodded, absorbing the words. She felt a sense of pride and confidence, knowing that she was becoming more aware of her own strength and the importance of empathy. They stopped at the display where the girl had been pushed during her first visit. She looked at it with a mixture of curiosity and reflection. This time she reached out and touched the glass, feeling a sense of control and confidence. The salesperson approached her again, kneeling down to her level, and spoke kindly. "I hope you feel safe here now. I am truly sorry for what happened before, and I will always make sure everyone is treated with care and respect." The girl smiled, feeling a sense of closure and understanding. She realized that forgiveness and growth were powerful tools, and that people could change when they truly wanted to. Her father spoke with the staff, ensuring that the values of respect, patience, and kindness continued to guide their work. The girl observed, learning more about leadership and the impact of words and actions. She saw how one person's guidance and integrity could influence the behavior of others and create an environment of trust and safety. It was a lesson she knew she would carry with her for the rest of her life. The girl spent the rest of the visit exploring the store, asking questions, and learning about the different types of jewelry. She laughed softly when she saw a particularly vibrant necklace and asked her father if she could try on a simple bracelet. Each moment reinforced the lessons she had learned about courage, empathy, and standing up for oneself calmly and respectfully. She felt proud of herself for navigating the situation with strength and understanding. Her father shared more stories about his experiences running the store and dealing with challenges. He spoke about times when he had faced unfair treatment, how he had responded, and the lessons he had learned. The girl listened intently, realizing that these experiences had shaped the values he now taught her. She understood that life would sometimes present obstacles and unfair situations, but that she had the tools to handle them with grace and wisdom. At one point, a young customer approached the girl, curious about the bracelet she was wearing. The girl smiled and shared what she had learned about the store and the jewelry, answering the questions with confidence. She felt proud of herself, realizing that she could now interact with others in a positive and helpful way. The encounter reinforced her sense of growth and empowerment. Before leaving, her father gathered the staff together once more. He reminded them of the importance of treating every customer with respect, kindness, and patience. He emphasized that the store was not just a business, but a place where people's dignity and feelings mattered. The girl watched with admiration, understanding the power of guidance and leadership. She realized that change was possible when people acted with integrity and care. On the way home, the girl reflected on the entire experience. She thought about how she had felt when she was pushed in the store, the fear and embarrassment that had followed, and how those feelings had gradually transformed into understanding, confidence, and empowerment. She realized that challenges in life could teach valuable lessons if faced with patience, courage, and support from those who cared. That evening, the girl sat with her mother and father, sharing her thoughts about the visits and the lessons she had learned. She spoke about the importance of empathy, the power of forgiveness, and the confidence that comes from understanding one's own strength. Her parents listened proudly, offering gentle guidance and encouragement. The experience had strengthened their bond, creating shared memories of growth, learning, and resilience. As she went to bed that night, the girl felt a deep sense of satisfaction and hope. She knew that she had grown stronger, wiser, and more confident. She understood that life would present challenges, but that with patience, understanding, and support, she could navigate them successfully. The jewelry store, once a place of fear and humiliation, had become a symbol of resilience, growth, and the power of respect and kindness. She closed her eyes, feeling secure and empowered, ready to face whatever came next with courage and grace.